Quick audio check. Alright, there is an immense amount of disturbance that I can hear. I'm gonna quickly take care of that. Alright, so hello, good morning, afternoon, evening, and welcome everyone to Aero League Racing ALR Season 16. Let me get it right. Season 16, Tier 6, Round 7, Sprint Race around Dragon Trail, the majestic chicane of death layout. We have 16 drivers with us for a 10-lap race around this rather interesting circuit with Blade Runner on pole. So Blade Runner, I think this he has set himself up as a pretty significant contender in this tier. He's been pretty fast all throughout. He is joined on the grid. He had mentioned his name, Eudalai. I think that's what he had mentioned. Hello, Tap. Nice to have you in the chat. And yes, before we begin, I hope, unlike the Monza race, YouTube actually wants to listen to me this time around. I hope nothing happens. Fingers crossed. Yes, so let's get on with the grid order. So we have Blade Runner followed by, let me get it right again, Eudalai in the Supra in P2. Michelle in the Subaru is in P3. I believe everybody's going to be on softs. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Gabo in the other Renault is in P4. Ellis is in P5. Thank you, Charles. Let's also please, if one of you can let me know if the audio is fine. I've had a few issues the past 2-3 rounds. I have made a few changes, so do let me know if it's a little better now. So we have Ellis in P5 in the Supra, followed by Apocalypse in the Audi in P6, Gumb in the Porsche in P7, as I had mentioned in the Monza race as well. I don't know if it had come through. I don't know whether it was in the sprint or in the feature, but this is a pretty cool livery. I like it. Thanks, Tap. I'm glad to hear that it's audible. Charles is in the, let me get the RCZ. He's in the RCZ, however you want to call it. My teammate, Abhi, who has no teammate because I was not in tier 6 for this race, I was in tier 4 for this race. So my teammate Abhi in P9, Rico in P10 in the Genesis. Obviously, he won the Monza feature race. IJF in the ambulance Lamborghini in P11. So interestingly, IJF is the only driver as of now is on the mediums. So maybe he forgot to change it or something. Boyan is on the softs in P12. Fudo is 13th on the softs as well. Gaz also on the mediums, so a bit of an interesting call from IGF and from Gaz. Inorganic on the softs in 15th, and his teammate Nico Swaggerelli rounds off back of the grid. From what I believe, Nico had a quali ban for this race. So with that in mind, let's go for the race, and I pressed the wrong button there. All right, the lights are coming on ahead of all the drivers. 5 lights on. The lights go out and the drivers go racing. It's a pretty good start by Gabo in the background, I see, but what a start by Blade Runner and by Michelle. They're already, the three of them are going to be 1, 2, and 3 into the first couple of turns. Let's have a look further back what the field spread is going to be like. I see Michelle and Gabo side by side approaching the first chicane. I see somebody on the grass there, rather off the track. I can't be very sure who that is, but we see Michelle who's moved up into P2, Gabo into P3, and we have a spinner already. That's the RCZ. Let's have a look a bit further back. So we shall have a look from this part of the circuit. So yeah, so it's Jarl's daughter who's had a moment. So I think this was Jarl's first race in Tier 6. Let's see what happened here. So a bit of contact with Ellis. I think that's just sent him round. Let's have a look, or maybe it's just putting the power down a little too early, and that has caused him a lot of trouble. And he is down at the back of the grid. It seems to have been a rather tentative start by everybody here. We see somebody on the grass there, that is Gumb, who has not Gumb, that is Udelai, sorry. Udelai onto the grass there, onto the curbing, losing a whole lot of positions, down to P11 now. We have a couple of cars going side by side, that is IJF chasing after Nico, who's had a pretty good start here. Just in the chat saying power down a little bit too early. Yeah, it's very easy to mess up there. Nonetheless, I think you should have a better time in the feature. Let's find out as we come towards the first time of asking around the chicane. Gabo having a bit of a moment there. Ellis following suit. But yeah, of course, okay, Rico's struggling around a bit. Apocalypse and to follow suit. Let's have a look at the drivers. The leaders get through without issue. Actually, everybody gets through without issue. A little bit. Okay, that's a slight movement from Gumb. I don't see anybody who's made contact with the wall as of now, and as I say that, Gaz has a moment, so my apologies Gaz for that commentator's curse there. RB's down in 15, a pretty poor start by him there, indeed for Charles as well. I'm glad to hear that. For the first time in so many races, I'm really glad to hear that. My audio balance at long last has achieved almost perfection. Perfection is constantly evolves. Nonetheless, let's get back to the race. Apocalypse trying to make a move on Rico into the first chicane. Rico goes a bit deeper in that corner. That's going to open up the door for Apocalypse. I hear a lot of tire squealing going on in the background. Is Nico eager and feisty to make a move? Let's have a look going into this fast right-hander. Rico navigates it well. Apocalypse a little bit unsettled there with the dirty air, and Nico goes for the dive there. Causes Apocalypse to take some evasive action. That could have lost him a bit of time, but Nico is on a charge. He's a man on a mission. He's gained 8 positions. I think it was within the first 3 or 4 turns. So, well done, Nico. After, I believe it was a quali ban. That's a very good way to bounce back. Let's have a look further back. We see, okay, so it's Boyan and IJF. Obviously, IJF on the mediums will not have as much outright grip, but he'll have better tire wear towards the end of the race. I think the tire wear was a bit of a concern in this race. Boyan going for the move. I don't think IJF will be defending it as much as we see up ahead. Fudo and Udalai as well battling it out. Udalai still side by side, approaching the chicane section. Let's have a look. Let's be onward with the Supra driver. Fudo losing the rear end slightly, ever so slightly, maybe it's lag, but nonetheless they get through without any issues whatsoever. Always good to see that. We see, alright, this is Gaz trying to go for a move, possibly a double move on Inorganic and Boyan. Let's have a look into the last corner we go. Tries to go for the move, but I think we have slightly compromised his line. But Boyan has gone really wide there. That's going to open up the door for Gaz. This is the battle for P12, but it is super fun to watch. Inorganic will get a good slipstream from the Mercedes ahead of him. There's the Audi right beside him. Let's have a look. So Gaz has not been able to capitalize on that opportunity, and he's not been able to move ahead of the Aston or the Mercedes as the Mercedes bounces over the curbing there. That's not the ideal way to go about it, and that's not the ideal way to go about your race whatsoever. Onto the grass goes Boyan, hits the wall, but is luckily on track without any damage. RB has now got up to the back of this pack. That is not the button I wanted to press there. Sorry for that. Hello, Blade Runner. What are you doing? Dominating out there in P1. Good to see you in the chat. So you let us know how the sprint went for you. As we see, Apocalypse was a little bit getting unsettled there. Yes, indeed. First corner we've seen Charles Daughter have a bit of a moment there as well on the very first lap. Let's have a look up front. Blade Runner navigates it pretty well, and he's saying it's perfect timing, and this is a perfect corner by you, Blade Runner. So well done. Same goes for Michelle. Gabo has a slight moment, slight hesitation that happens through this specific corner. I can completely sympathize with that. I had it a few of those moments myself. Apocalypse looks a lot more composed as opposed to Rico ahead of him, who in the Genesis we saw him struggle a lot at I believe it is Kyoto. Yes, Kyoto it was, as we were going a little bit wide there. So Rico's car I believe has the outright speed, but Apocalypse's car is a bit more well balanced at this point in the in general. Let's have a look. So we'll see Charles is on a way to 1 hour quest, so we shall. I hope to provide some good entertainment during this 1 hour break that we need to take. Let's see, going through the first game, he's gone backwards from the start, but I think he should be getting a bit more of a rhythm towards the middle part of the race, end of the race. Let's have a look at Nico. Nico has been on the charge, although he has fallen down the position from when we last saw that, and whatever's happened there is that I believe it just I think his brakes disconnected or something, because let's have a look here through this section. Let's have a look at his telemetry here. We can quite clearly see it. Yeah, I think that's a bit of a unfortunate moment there. Let's have a look at Idolai's. Yep, Idolai has rear end damage, and that is going to open up the door for Fudo, who will be very eager to make the movies of this to see what's happened ahead of him. To the Supra driver and the Aston Martin driver. Aston Martin, speaking of, is nowhere to be seen at this point. Let's have a look. I don't think his recovery was pretty good. So Nico and Charles are close together on track. Nico putting on his hazard lights and letting the Peugeot past. Gaz is in a race of his own. RBS caught to the back of Inorganic, and IGF on this medium. Let's see what he can do. Going through the chicane, and that is a slight moment for Apocalypse. What about Idolai? That is a moment for Idolai as well. So picking up front and rear and damage in the same lap. That is very unfortunate for Idolai. And well, the only saving grace that one of those was not his fault. Nonetheless, he is still in the race. He still carries on. It is lap 5 for our race leader. Whatever's happened to Gumb. Gumb in P5 as he had a moment as he made contact. Let's have a look. Chasing after Ellis, who will be Supra first. Gumb takes the last turn, and what's happened here? Just put the power down a little too early there. Yep, and that is front right corner damage, and that allows Rico and Apocalypse to get past without any issue whatsoever. And putting on the hazard lights dump for safety. Ellis in a race of their own, and everybody the top 4 are pretty much in a race of their own at this point. It's Apocalypse who is harassing Gumb Rico at this point of track after Gumb had that slight movement. So I think Gumb may be able to come back towards the end of the race. Rico is a little further back in the Auto Supra. Kudu in P9. IGF being chased after by Inorganic, and I just switched over because I didn't want to give him any unnecessary pressure there, commentator's pressure, if you want to call it. Nonetheless, let's see, have a look at Apocalypse chasing after Rico. So through the corners, I think you can see here is where Rico just doesn't seem to have the confidence in the Genesis. There are those slightly odd lines there. Never mind, Apocalypse was also struggling. So nobody is safe from that fast section as well. Into this right-hander and approaching the chicane of death. Let's have a look up front. Nobody having any issues. Michelle kissing the wall. This Valentine's week after all, so you are allowed to be a little romantic right now at this point in time. Let's have a look at Rico. Navigates it well. What about Apocalypse? That was a very aggressive line through there, and that's gonna gain him time. So the aggression has helped him out significantly. Let's have a look into the final turn we go. Going down the inside, the Audi driver on the Genesis. The Genesis has the outside line, will have this slightly better exit, but goes onto the gravel there. That's not the exit you need, and he has lost the position to Apocalypse. Gumb will be watching all this and will be quite keen to get involved in this little skirmish here. Rico still chasing after Apocalypse. Let's have a look further back at what's happening between. Inorganic has lost a position to Abi. Boyan is on the back of the Aston Martin as well. Gaz is in the wall there and has lost a position to Charles. That is not how you want your race to go. Down in P15, Gaz at this point in time. Nico down in P16. I think Nico had a bit of a have a look what's happened here. So these three got pretty close. Up front, I don't see any moves being made, or do we? Let's have a look at Rico and Apocalypse for a moment here. We'll switch back to this for a moment. So I saw Inorganic get very close to Abi. So going into the first game we go, let's have a look. Inorganic gets close. Will he force Abi to making a mistake? With this long right-hander, this is where we've seen a few drivers make mistakes. No mistakes on this occasion for any of them. Inorganic is putting a lot of pressure, is mounting the pressure on Abi. Let's have a look through the slow right-hander, whether he can make the move. No, he goes a little bit wide actually, losing a slight bit of time. Actually, this goes for an alternative line through there, does not lose too much time. He usually sends up one of his personal best. But Blade Runner, look at the way he's just flying out in front. Blade Runner is already going through the chicane of death. These guys are just approaching that section outright. So, that just shows the sheer field spread in Tier 6 at times. Rico chasing after Apocalypse can't do much at this point. Gumb is slowly but steadily catching up. That's what he needs. Consistency is key in racing, and it's always heart and mouth moments when you go for the chicane. That's Kudo being a little conservative there, and IGF also being a little safe. I don't think the call to go on medium was intentional. Abi hits the wall there in his pursuit of getting ahead of an organic or chasing after IGF. In any case, let's have a look what's going on between Genesis and the Audi. We should turn on the stream for a brief moment to have a look. Alright, the stream is still on. Everything is still fine and dandy, some might say. Speaking of Slugger Dandy, Michel Beaumont in P2, chasing after Blade Runner. He is not allowing Blade Runner to rest easy at this point, effectively. He is still hassling the Renault driver, but he is in a Renault sandwich at this point, Michel. So going a little bit wide through that section there, going onto the curbing that will offset your car, and coming back to the rhythm. Gabo's a little further back. Ellis is racing zone at this point. Apocalypse is starting to chase after the Supra. Rico has not let go of the of Apocalypse from Apocalypse's point of view. He's still there. He is still within attacking distance of the Audi. And the Gum and the Porsche of Gum is also caught up. Let's have a look. Gum going for an audacious move here that may not end well, and it has not ended well. They've lost time. They've lost a whole chunk of time actually, and that may have caused Udalai to take some evasive action, as we heard from all those tire squeals in the background there. Let's have a look through the chicane of death. We go. That's not an ideal line for Rico. Neither is it for Gum. But that is a pretty good exit for Udalai, who will try to go for a move into the last corner. Let's have a look. He will make the move. Will he be able to make it stick though? Gum breaks a little bit later. He will have the outside line, although Udalai will be able to force off the track, but that is very respectful and clean racing, and we're going to have a 3-wide battle possibly into the first chicane. Let's have a look. So that is Gum trying to get the slipstream and getting the slipstream rather convincingly on Rico. Side by side they go towards the first chicane. Let's have a look. It is going to be side by side action, and that is a tinge of contact between Udalai and Gum, but nothing problematic whatsoever. Yes, indeed, that is fantastic racing. We love to see it. Always love to see it. Further back, not a whole lot happening. Abi has got past Kudo. And Inorganic's a little further back actually, not too many moves. Boyan trying to catch up to Inorganic. I think I'm just enjoying this battle. Up front, the top three have effectively run away. As you can see there. They're about to lap IGF. So whatever's happened to IGF, I think you can see there, he's really struggling, IGF. And you never want to be lapped in a sprint. That is a pretty disheartening thing to happen to any driver, any tier. So in any case, hey Gabo, nice to have you in the chat. Thank you for your kind words, and it's good to see you in P3. I have mentioned this a few times previously as well, but your livery is really cool. So thank you for gracing us with this fantastic livery. We are going to start the penultimate lap of this race, lap 9 of 10. On board is Blade Runner, who is actually leading by not as significant of a margin as he would like, but Michel picks up the fastest lap, so these two are trading fastest laps. So there's just over a 10th difference between Blade Runner and Michel's best time. Gabo is a little further back. He's driving a nice consistent race. That's what you want to be. You want to be consistent at all times. Let's have a look. So we have battle brewing here. Let's see what Gum can do. His charge against the Genesis of Rico. Rico brakes actually pretty well. I thought he would overshoot his braking point, but he actually slowed it down perfectly almost. They're losing time to Apocalypse, but that should not be much of an issue. I think they will be able to claw that back maybe within the next half of this race, and that is Gum going for an audacious move there, and he's gonna make it stick, mind you. Wow, I think that deserves a cinematic replay. So let's have a look here. He is chasing after the Genesis car, and I think he just went for it. Sometimes you just know that you want to go for the move. There's a slight opportunity there, and he's absolutely made a mistake. What a fantastic move there by Gum. I think that caught Rico by surprise. I don't think he was expecting Gum to go for a move at that part of the racetrack. And he can't really do much in this section, or can he? Gum seems to be using a little bit of traction, a little bit of grip. Actually, that's going to open up the door for Udalai, who is right in the back of the Genesis. As we approach the chicane of death, up front I see no trouble whatsoever for the leaders. And yes, indeed, that is a great overtake by the Porsche driver. Rico still trying to chase after Udalai. Oh, that's getting a little bit too trigger happy with the throttle. That is not going to help. As you can see, he is visibly falling back significantly there as Blade Runner. Yes, indeed, that's pretty cool overtake, I must say. But it's a pretty good exit for Rico as well. Will he be able to mount an attack on Gum, on the Porsche that's just overtaken him a little bit earlier in this lap? He tries to go down the inside. Actually, he may be able to make it stick. Gum goes for the switchback here, and you will see it like at the best view of all this. He's got the best seat in the house. Box office tickets here for the Supra driver. As we start the very last lap of the race, Blade Runner and Michelle have disappeared. They've gone. No trace of them. For these drivers at least at this point. And that is Udalai going for a move on Gum. He's going to make it stick possibly. And he has. Will Gum be able to come back the switchback? I think he will, but he's been slightly off track there, going onto the gravel there, onto the curbing, and will. This is going to be side by side. It's going to be very close, but Gum regains the position. Wow, this is some stellar racing. You don't get to see this very, very often here. And obviously, I've not mentioned this much, but Rico has caught up to Apocalypse, who actually is tired and worse nicked than Apocalypse, but he's managing to get close. Let's just follow this battle. It's the battle for P5, and it's as interesting as the battle for the lead. It's just amazing to watch here. I'm like going, oh my word. This had to happen there. Abhi will gain another position, but I think we'll focus on this battle here. Actually, we may give Blade Runner and Michelle a little bit of airtime. We're not giving them a lot of airtime in this race whatsoever. As we have a look at Blade Runner win the race, and it's not been a comfortable win because Michelle has been right there on the pace. These two have been just fantastic throughout this sprint race. Gabo will finish P3 on track. Ellis will be in P4. What about these drivers? Oh, that is not good in any shape or form. Ellis will be P4. Let's just have a look at oh my word, going head on into the chicane. Oh, that is visibly, clearly not ended well for any of them. Let's have a look. So Apocalypse gets through without issue. Oh, Rico absolutely clatters the wall there. Gum clatters Rico's car, but gets through without any issues. Because this is the last lap of the race, he was able to get through without too many troubles. Abhi may be able to get ahead of the Genesis, which has a significant amount of damage at this point. Rico will try to defend it. Will Abhi try to go for the move here? He should. It is Rico's car is quite badly wounded at this point. Apocalypse P5, Gum in P6. And it's going to be a drag race almost to the line. Ferrari versus Genesis. I think the Genesis has Ferrari edged out as they reach the start-finish line. Fudo and Inorganic. Fudo just driving close to the pit wall, trying to say thanks to his pit crew. Boyan in P11, Giles in P12. Unfortunate that he had that spin really early on in the race. He was looking rather promising. Udalai in P13 after that late spin. Gaz in P14 and Nico. It's been a pretty sad race for Nico down in P15. IJF, I'm not sure what's happened. He's pitted for softs, but he don't need to pit in a sprint. So usually you don't need to pit in a sprint. Nico finishes P15. That is the last of the finishers. But Blade Runner still emerges victorious from Michelle, who picked up the fastest lap. So with that in mind, we will now move on to the not the sprint race, we've just done the sprint race. We move on to the feature race. Alright, so that is not what I want to see. I want to see this. It is the feature race. Thank you, Michelle, for uploading the feature race as well. For all of us to enjoy. I'm going to take a quick break to just have a bit of water. Alright, let us begin with the feature race. So, no, that's not what I want to do. This is what I want to do. Alright, that's fine. So, 25 laps of Dragon Trail ahead of us, ahead of all the drivers as well, and the field will be led by Inorganic. Charles, where are you actually in the pack? You are P12 at this point. We'll get to you, but interesting. Do let us know how your feature went as well as it goes on. We see Inorganic in P1 leading the pack on these hard tires. Fudo opting for the mediums in the Audi. Robbie opting for the hards. Rico opting for the softs. An interesting call, but nonetheless, we shall see how it pans out for Rico. Gum is also on the soft tires in the Porsche. Showcase good pace in the sprint. Let's see what he can do in the feature. Apocalypse on the mediums. Ellis on the softs as well. So a fair few drivers opting for the soft tires. So maybe the strategies are going to be different. Their fuel mapping. Let's see. Let's see what the race has in store for us. Gabo in P8 on the hards, Michelle in P9 on the hards, and Blade Runner in P10 also on the hards. So the usual three, the fast three, I did expect them to opt for either mediums or hards, and they've all gone for hards. So interesting to see. Let's see how their race pans out. Boyan in P11 on the hards as well, as is Charles in the RCZ. That's an interesting sponsor on the bottom right of your car, Charles. I think we may want to a little bit more a little bit later. Eudalai is on those soft tires. Gaz is on the mediums. IJF on the mediums. I think this time around it should be intentional. Maybe it was a mistake in the sprint, but I don't think it's a problem here. And Nico rounds off the field on the medium. So the entire field is in an Aston Martin sandwich, led by Inorganic, who is going to start this race at the head of the field on these hard tires. Let's see what he can do. The lights are going to come on any moment now. The lights are out and they go racing. So all 16 drivers are eager to get maximum points. Only one of them can succeed. Let's have a look. As we approach the first chicane, Avi looks rather racy. Will he be able to launch a move on Fudo? Actually, it's going to be Rico who goes very deep into that corner, braking very late. Maybe he'll be able to get ahead of Avi. And that's just a little bit of argy-bargy between Rico and Gum. Both of them on the softs. They will not have too many issues at this stage of the race. They'll actually be very quick at this stage in the race. Gum went for a rather audacious move in the sprint towards the end of the sprint. Let's see if we can do something similar in the feature. Let's have a look further back. We see Gabo has fallen back, as has Michelle, who's under threat from Udalai. Let's have a look if this BRZ driver can do anything about it. He can actually. Udalai goes pretty deep into that corner. Michelle, Gabo, and Charles are supremely close. All of them on the hard tires. Charles has a massive contact with Gabo, and oh my god. Whatever happened there did wow. I think we'll just give this a bit of a cinematic replay treatment. So we're all going very close into the section. I think it is Charles who goes onto the gravel, gets unsettled. I don't think Gabo's to blame in that outright, but unfortunately for Charles, that is back of the field, and Gabo going for an aggressive move there at the turn. Wow, he's made the move on the Supra and the BRZ. Yes, Charles, unfortunate for you. I hope the rest of the race went a little bit better. So lap 1 in the sprint and the feature has not been very kind to you. Michelle he's taken a very alternative line compared to Gabo, but they both maintain their gap to one another. Udalai will be pretty keen. We will have a look up front. I see change for the lead here. Gabo going for the switchback on Michelle and gets up into P9. However, up front there have been a few changes for the lead here. As we can see, Rico and Abi side by side. He's going to go for a move on the Ferrari. He's going to possibly go for a move on the Audi as well. Will he be able to make it stick? He's going to make it stick on the Ferrari, not on the Audi on this occasion. Ferrari driver has to hang back for the time being, going into the chicane section. Yeah, Rico's got the move done on the soft tires. He's making the most of it. Gum should also be looking to do something similar. Gum's a little further back at this point in time. The top three are so close to one another. And will Rico go for an audacious double move into the last turn? Let's have a look. He brakes a little bit later than the Audi, brakes a little bit later than the Aston, and he's gonna get the move done. Fantastic by Rico to get the move done on the pair of them, and that is not the button I wanted to press. I keep pressing R2. My apologies for that. Inorganic looking to reclaim the position that he's just lost to Rico, but there's a little bit wide there. That's not gonna help. That's actually gonna open up the door for Fudo, who will brake a little bit later and get the move done on the Aston Martin driver. Gumb also getting past, so Abi losing a few positions, Inorganic losing a few positions. That is not the way they want their races to go. Apocalypse on the back of the Ferrari. Let's see what's gonna happen here. This is the battle. Wow, okay, I see a car into the wall there. What's happened to Fudo? Looking so strong. Did Gum and Fudo make contact? Obviously, Fudo's on the medium tires. Let's have a look into this turn. And yes, there was definite contact that has sent Fudo into the wall and losing a whole host of positions. And speaking of these, side-by-side action between Inorganic and Gumb, getting past the Porsche driver, who may just be a little lost a bit of composure there possibly. Ellis get wow, there's way too much going on at this point in the race. It's really difficult to follow. So we see Gumb getting overtaken by Inorganic, Avi following suit as well, and Ellis, I think just the opportunist here in him, up and tried to go for a move on Apocalypse and made it stick, and did the same on Gum. So well done Ellis on a very opportune move, and Blade Runner's following suit, almost dropping it there. So let's have a look from his point of view, so he's going to get a very good view of all the action unfolding ahead of him. So Blade Runner, let's have a look here. Gum going very wide there. Gum is just not having a very nice lap at this point. Blade Runner almost drops it, keeps it on track though. Let's see what's going on here between Abi and Inorganic. Rico leads the way. Inorganic goes very deep into that corner. That's going to open up the door for Abi. I hear a tire squeal in the background. We will get to that in a moment. Rico is running away. He ran away with the lead in Monza. Could he do something similar here? We will find out within the pit stop phase commencing. Everybody gets through without issue. As I say that Blade Runner, that is pretty significant hit. So I don't believe he was close to anybody on tracks. Let's have a look through the chicane of death. This is one of the scariest of the fall, and that is, well, it's at least well balanced damage. All of his front end is damaged. Obviously not the ideal thing to happen, but Blade Runner still in the race, not too far behind his teammate, who is actually battling with Udalai, who has not been able to make the most of the soft tires like how Rico has managed to. And what is happening up here? Rico with the fastest lap, but look at this. This is the battle for P2. 4 cars are involved in this. Still skirmish. Abhi trying to go for the move on Inorganic. Will he be able to make it stick? Will he be able to do anything about it? Side-by-side action for the pair of them. Ellis was an opportunist on the previous lap. There's a bit of contact between. Oh, that's Inorganic into the wall there. Just drops it on throttle. Luckily, no damage for him there. But that is Ellis up into P2. He is just making the moves when he needs to on those soft tires. Apocalypse was also trying to get past Abi, who just seems to be struggling. Doesn't enjoy possibly the car around this track. Maybe just doesn't like the track or whatever it is, but he's just not having a very good time right now. Sorry. Gabo in P6, Blade Runner in P7, Nico. That's not the name I mentioned. That's the name I've not mentioned in a while. Nico in P8. Let's have a look what happens. Michelle is a little further back. Actually coming on the third from IGF. So the midfield is giving us a lot of the upper midfield. A lot of ways to categorize this part of the field. Abi going off circuit, so almost categorizing himself as being in the wall there for a moment, but luckily holds it together and keeps going. That's Apocalypse and Udalai very close, but all full station for the time being. The two Renaults are so close on track. That could be an issue. They are very closely matched on pace, so obviously that can end up being a bit of an issue when your teammates, especially Abhi, Apocalypse, and that is a great move by Udalai. Great exit, sorry, by Udalai. Looking for him way past the Audi, and I think he's already made it even before they reach the last one. So well done, Udalai, making the moves and trying to get past drivers. And let's see what he can do on lap 4 against Apocalypse, who is very eager to regain the position he's just lost. Abhi is not. He doesn't have very good straight line speed at this point for some reason. Let's have a look going into the chicane, and everybody gets through without any issues. Let me see if I've spoken a little bit too early. Almost a little bit too early there. You can never be too sure with that specific turn. Apocalypse was losing a little bit of time comparative to Udalai, and that's going to allow Gabo to get close and Blade Runner. Look at the way the Renault driver has closed up on his teammate actually. Nico's a little further back. He can see the two teammates battling it out. Very close on track. So racing with your teammate is obviously a pretty significant issue because both of you may sometimes be very close on pace, but let's not focus on that. Let's have a look at Udalai and Abhi. Abhi may go a little bit deep into the corner, but Udalai follows him there. That is not what we want to be doing there. Rico is comfortably leading. Abhi just has enough pace to keep Udalai behind at this point, but he's made a mistake into the chicane of death, and that's going to open up the door for Udalai. Luckily, Abhi got no damage despite grazing the wall there. Just a little kiss there. Let the wall know that he really enjoyed racing around this layout. Apocalypse will get a good exit, possibly looking to get a good exit. Abhi on the hards, Apocalypse on the mediums. He's going to have the better grip, the Audi driver. Let's have a look into the first chicane. Let's quickly switch back so we see Blade Runner not too far behind his teammate. Apocalypse not too far behind Abhi. Will he go for a move into the chicane? I don't think it's going to be able to get the move done here. Abhi will hold station. Oh, will he? Apocalypse lost the rear end on the previous lap, not on this lap, though he is very close. And could he repeat are we going to see a repeat of the move that we saw from Gump in the sprint race? It's going to be pretty audacious if he manages to pull that off, but anybody manages to pull that off. But yeah, nothing doing on this occasion. The two Renaults still stay as they are. Hold station. Abhi just does not seem to be enjoying it. He's struggling a fair bit. And his tires seem to be in good nick. He just doesn't seem to be having the confidence I think in the car at this point. Rico is not comfortably ahead of Ellis, but actually he's actually got a pretty good lead over Supra, and I've actually a couple too many times now, so Apocalypse on the back of the Ferrari. Through the chicane we go. Abhi once again just not enjoying it. Actually gets a pretty good exit there. Gabo closing up to the tail end of that Audi, and Blade Runner so close. Are we gonna see a move here into the last turn? The two teammates get very close and almost make contact there. You never want to make contact with your teammate. That is the golden rule of racing, among many other golden rules of racing, but it is very imperative you don't make contact. Rico has the fastest lap at this point in time. Blade Runner is charging up the field though, as is Gabo, so it's gonna be, let's see. Okay, we see a moving made here between Apocalypse and Abhi, and that has not ended well for either of them, as we saw both of them having to take to the gravel there. So let's see what happened here. So did he just go for a move that was not really happening? So okay, that is, I think that can be termed as a racing incident there, and that has allowed Gabo to close up, lose the rear end ever so slightly, which is going to allow his teammate to get past. So that is what I was going to say. Any mistake by Gabo will allow Blade Runner to get past. Gabo, I think both should be fine, as the two Renault. Let's just keep it for the time being. Have swapped positions. It's now Blade Runner ahead of his teammate and looking to chase after Apocalypse and Abhi. Abhi has been a hindrance to Apocalypse's charge. So obviously they're on the mediums. Blade Runner's on the hards, as is Gabo. as is Abhi. So up front, either on the softs, he'll have to box, as will Ellis, as will Rico. So what's gonna happen here? Oh. Almost some contact between the two Renault teammates there. And let's have a look at the lead runner's perspective. Abhi and Apocalypse through the chicane, Blade Runner kissing the wall there, getting a little bit romantic. At the wall, Gabo has fallen back ever so slightly. Nico is driving a nice, consistent, clean race, not being too many. Okay, that's Rico into the pit lane there. Blade Runner almost into the wall there and almost taking out his teammate. Whoa. None of those things have gone the way Blade Runner wanted. One corner has cost him so dearly, and it has also not helped out Abhi, who has been overtaken by Apocalypse, who has, with the help of slipstream and such, just managed to get past the Ferrari driver, and now Gabo is going to set after the Ferrari as well. We see IGF going very deep into that corner, and in organic, let's have a look. I'm going to very quickly check the stream's integrity for my own still. Let's have a quick look there, sorry for that. So IGF losing the rear end there, and still going on. Yeah, I think the stream is still going on. Inorganic gets past IGF, and that is the Lamborghini down P8. Now it is the Aston Martins in P6 and P7. It's actually turning out to be a pretty strong race for them. Gabo chasing after Abhi, Blade Runner chasing after his teammate, and Nico chasing after Blade Runner. Okay, Rico onto the grass there. So Rico has opted for the mediums. Ellis has also opted for the mediums, and Yudolai has not boxed. Michel, his race has not gone the way he would have wanted. Down P11, while his closest competitors, those who are closest to him on track, are presently in P4 and P5. So Michel not having a very good time. Nico also not enjoying that particular trip through the chicane of death. Gets through without. Well, actually, he does have silent Type R. Please do let me know your PSN username. I don't see that name in the chat here, so I am going to be looking up for lap 22 in any case. So do let me know. Oh, Eudalai. Please let me know if I'm saying your name correctly. Eudalai, you had mentioned it in the tier 6 chat, so let me know if I'm saying it right. IJF trying to go for the move on the Aston Martin. This is the same part of the track where he lost the position one lap previous. Will he be able to make it stick? Will he be able to regain the position? He does, almost at the very same exact section of the track, and Inorganic can't do much, loses the position to the Lamborghini and loses more time going onto the gravel there, doing a little, well, not lawn mowing, just taking up some gravel there. Rico in P8. I shall do my best whenever I do see you on track. And speaking of behind Michel presently in P10. So Michel is in a bit of no man's land at this point. Those around him have made their pit stop. Inorganic losing a bit more momentum. I think we've just stumbled upon a move here possibly. Rico going for a move into the turn. Let's have a look. Inorganic and Rico racing very close. Inorganic going a bit deep into that corner, losing the position to the Genesis driver and falling down to P8. Inorganic moving up into P7. Rico. So Rico's on a charge. Let's see if the strategy pays off well for him. The Genesis, not exactly sure how the Genesis is, whether it's kind or a bit problematic on the tires, and that is problematic for the BRC driver. So we have just stumbled upon a rather unfortunate moment for Michel here. So was there contact? Because Eudalai is pretty close to him. That's Michel kissing the wall and hitting the wall and losing the rear end and spinning around. That is super unfortunate for him, and hits the wall once again and hits the wall while trying to get back to the track. Michel, and that is going to give Gaz pretty easy way past, as will Dom. We've not spoken about these guys in a while, actually. We'll follow them back a little bit. We have a battle brewing for the lead here. So, this is Apocalypse leading from Abhi, and yep, he did. That is super unfortunate for Michelle. Down in P14 at this point. But this is getting feisty up front. Gabo, Blade Runner, both of them chasing after Abhi. So, Nico a little further back. And what's going on here between IGF and Rico? Rico gets past, but is that a corner cut? Would look like it. I don't think the game's going to penalize him for that. Yes, the chicane of death has been very deadly indeed for Michelle in the BRZ. That is a pretty unfortunate way to have his race unfold there. He was already having a pretty hard race, but it's just gone backwards from there. IJF losing a bit more momentum, going a little bit right through that section. Ellis being chased after by Utilized, so the two Supras are very close on track. I think we'll follow this. We will switch to the leaders as well in a moment, because I think Gabo's going to go for a move, and that is Utilized. Oh, not serious contact, but ample contact between the two of them, and I think Ellis let Utilized by in a show of good faith, and that is the white Supra ahead of the orange and purple magenta, but whatever you want to call it. Ellis losing a bit of momentum, and Charles getting past Gaz. This is a nice battle. It's heating up a little bit for the battle. Let's have a look up front. Are we going to see any moves being made? We will have a look at that. So let's have a look at Charles getting past the Audi, and I think Michelle will also follow suit. So a nice move further behind by Charles and Michelle to get past Gaz up front. Gabo, Michelle. Not Gabo and Michelle, it's Gabo, Blade Runner and Abhi. Wow, it is getting feisty. Gabo is very eager to put down the throttle, as we all would be. Fuel reserve, let's have a look at that. So I think it's Abhi and Blade Runner pretty closely matched on fuel. Gabo has managed to fuel very well, I must say, at this point. So potentially going for a hards to softs. I think that's the best way to go about it, I think, in the case, given his present condition. And yeah, that's pretty elbows out between the two Supras. Wow, Gabo, that is not the ideal line, and that is going to allow your teammate to get past. Unfortunately, Gabo has lost the position to Blade Runner. These two have just traded positions in the most unorthodox manner, so you usually see your teammate just letting you by, but these two have chosen to go off track, kiss the wall and all, but they are still in the race. They're still pretty close to one another, and they are in a very good position still. Okay, Gabo grazing the wall once again. He's not picked up any damage. Nico is driving a silent but pretty rather efficient race, I must say, so well done to Nico. Let's have a look if Apocalypse plans to pit. He does on those mediums. I think Nico might follow suit. That is going to allow Abhi to inherit the lead of this race. He is under severe pressure from the Renaults, though. It can be either Renault at this point. Both of them are very closely matched. Blade Runner chasing after the Ferrari. Nico and P4. Nico has opted not to box, so Nico will go on for at least one more lap. Further back, what's happening here? So camera angles are all over the place. Ellis is falling back a little bit. Delay chasing after Inorganic. Brakes a little bit late. Actually, he can brake significantly later than the Aston, and that is IGF going across the gravel. That's going to cause Inorganic some problems. That's going to open up the door for Udelai. Going into this fast right hander. I don't think there's a move in place at this turn. Possibly at the next one, as Inorganic's gone very wide. So this is the second time that we've seen on stream that he's gone wide. He may have done it a few more times the race, but nonetheless that has opened up the door for Udelai to get past and ahead of the Aston Martin. Up front, has Blade Runner managed to close up to Abhi? Not as much. Going to the chicane of death, lap 11. Let's have a look at the two red cars, red Ferrari and the red Renault, and it is the Renault who gets the better exit of the two. For the back, let's have a look at Gump. A little bit squirmy with the throttle, but gets through without too many issues. The last corner we go. Abhi's line through here has helped him on almost every single lap to manage to stay ahead, but not on this occasion. It's almost like I'm intentionally doing it, but I'm really not. Abhi loses the rear end at the exit of the last corner there. Just as I mentioned that his last corner exits have been helping him stay ahead of the driver who has been chasing him down every single lap. Almost every single lap. Blade Runner inherits the lead of the race, although all these drivers have to make their pit stops, mind you. Rico, I don't believe these tires will get to the end of the race. Although I would like for prove me wrong, you lie. I think I'm just gonna pick one name and stick to it. Supra driver is in P6 for the time being. The other Supra is chasing after Inorganic. Inorganic presently in P7. Charles mentions that there's been a bit of a movement there. Where is Charles? We've not. Oh, that's IGF completely stopped on track. So whatever causes the driver to go. Oh, that is what causes the driver to go completely stationary on track, rejoining. But there's driving the wrong way. Don't drive the wrong way for too long there, and stationary on track. And a lot of drivers have got past here. Yellow flag. Charles has mentioned that there's a move incoming here, and I have missed something here. So in my bid to focus on the action in the midfield, I've missed a very crucial aspect here. So I think we can come back to see it. Blade Runner going onto the gravel there, losing the rear end, drifting across. That's not going to help his tires and such. And yes, indeed, the medic was luckily close by for IGF. And Blade Runner's tires will need a medic there after that massive off, because that is going to not just hurt his race, but also is just going to put a dent in your confidence through that specific section there. Abhi is back into the lead of this race, followed by Gabo, followed by Blade Runner, who will be just tanking his lucky stars, but there's no damage and he's not lost a whole lot more time and more positions. He's still come out ahead of Nico, so I think that just shows the gap that these guys had to the rest of the field. Indeed, Blade Runner, that is majestic parking. I think you can give a few of us some tips. Lord Hines, I don't recollect your name, but I think yes, that is me. I am going to be on comms for Tier 5 next season, which I'm very much looking forward to. We do have one more race to cover in Tier 6. That is going to be, let me put this right, Deep Forest Raceway, yes, which is going to be the season finale. And if it's possible, I would also like to redo the Monza feature race, which cancelled out. So we heard from Charles that he's had a moment here with Michelle, and I think I've got it at almost the right time, or have I? Yeah, I think I've missed it, have I? Through the chicane of death. This is the one part of the track where you can expect moves to be made. Let's have a look at Charles. So this is Michelle trying to make the move on IGF after obviously IGF's pretty significant spin there. I am handing out a lot of haters curses here. Not that I enjoy doing it, but good to see. I used to do them a lot in the F1 games, and it's carried over to GT7 as well. So it's turn 1. We will switch to that for a moment as we see that's a pretty opportune move here by you. So well done, Charles, on that nice move on the ambulance Lamborghini of IGF, and let us give you some air time. I think this is remember the lap, no worries. I don't see any moves being made here, so I think we'll get back to it a little bit later. So let's have a look up front what's happening here. So we see Nico into the pit lane. He's getting rid of those medium tires. He's won almost half the race on this set, so it should be a rather straightforward thing. I think he should go into the hards and just call it a fancy things on the softs, but I think we will come to know his strategy in a moment as we see Ellis on the back of Inorganic. Inorganic has chosen not a very efficient route through this part of the track. twice. Is he going to do it a third time? Not. Actually, it's going to be Ellis who chooses the wrong route, and that is Ellis facing the wrong way. We were just speaking about commentators' curses here, and I have unfortunately given Ellis a commentator's curse. Well, speaking of inorganic exploits through that section, Ellis has had a moment, had a spin. Mediums will be quite upset with them, quite cross by having to take that excursion through the circuit. Abhi still leads, although the gap has come down significantly. Yeah. Okay, did something happen there? Have I missed something? If Fudo with a penalty, will not focus on that. Michelle and Charles, so I believe I missed. Oh my word. So, unlucky lap 13, as it turns out for Michelle and Charles. Into turn 1 we go, not into turn 1, the chicane we go, and that's Michelle and Charles making contact, and that is the pointing Spider-Man meme almost. Oh wow, that is scary for all the drivers involved there who gotten past, especially Nico, who I think cut the pit exit there. No contact, is it? So that is the pointing Spider-Man meme right there. Michelle, okay, I think we'll give it the cinematic treatment here. So, going into the chicane, very close, and I'm actually surprised to hear there's no contact there, because there is contact over there, but not over here. So Michelle, I think Michelle just wanted to have a look at the various sponsors and possibly the Warhammer branding on the RCZ, and yeah. And that's yours, letting Michelle by in a show of good faith. Always good to see respect between drivers on the racetrack. And yeah, Michelle stopping for ice cream. I think he's turned it a bit of a Kimi Raikkonen there. We'll have to ask Michelle what his favorite ice cream flavor is. Possibly it's going to be a mix of flavors given how his livery colors have been. Yes. In all this, Nico has opted to pit for the soft tires. So I don't think you need to worry about that, Charles. I think the fact that you did slow down in itself is quite respectful. I think that's not something every driver would choose to do. So still, well done to you. Gabo into the pit lane. I hope that's not a pit. What do you call it? It's not a pit lane extension, but you're cutting the pit entry. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say. I lose my words sometimes. Delay also pitting from the getting rid of the soft tires, so it's a bit of an odd strategy for him here. From these soft tires, let's see what he can do. Rico goes up into P3, and I don't think there's any way he's getting to the end of the race on these tires either. And that's Gabo, luckily having no penalties involved, going on to those medium tires to complete the rest of the race. So let's see, he is the first first of the leaders to make their pit stops. Yeah, I think a couple drivers have had moments there, but I think nonetheless, I don't think Charles, you need to worry too much. Contact happens in racing. It's the fact that you have so much respect for your competitors, your fellow racers. It's always good to see that. Rico still has the fastest lap in P3. So, shouldn't be much of an issue. RB is running on fumes. Blade Runner is almost running on fumes. RB is about to lap Fudo, but that is not going to be the case because RB is definitely going to be boxing on this lap. He's going to ditch those hards in favor of the mediums, I believe. It does not make sense to go for risky strategy at this point because I don't think Nico's going to get to the end with these softs. Blade Runner also follows RB into the pit lane, and we shall get to know their tire choices in a moment's time, but this is going to allow Rico to inherit the lead of the race. However, looking at his tires, we are almost certain that he's going to have to box. Again, possibly for mediums, maybe for possibly for softs, maybe for mediums. We will come to in a few laps time. Let's see what RB opts to do. He has opted to take a little bit more fuel, I believe, compared to Gabo. And there you go, Abhi out on those mediums, and Gum has managed to slot in between Gabo and Abhi. And let's see Apocalypse on the hards, and that's Blade Runner on the mediums as well. So none of them opting to go for the soft tires as Nico did. Nico, speaking of, we have a few more drivers in the pit lane. That's Inorganic opting for the hard tires. Ellis gets a penalty and emerges on the hards as well. So a lot of drivers making their pit stops. I missed all three of your pileups. I think I'm going to give you some airtime, Boyan. So your hard tires are pretty bad, Nick. Is it on this lap? Let's have a look. That is Gaz. A little bit skirmish through there. Is there going to be contact? Wow! Wow! I switched over to see if Boyan made a mistake there, as he just mentioned in the chat. So Gaz is on the verge of a puncture at this point, puncture territory, and I think that's what's happened. He has just left the rear, and that's a significant hit against the wall for the Audi driver, as a lot of other drivers are going into the pit lane. I think Gaz is going to be one more who's going to join them. IGF in the Lamborghini is a long way back, actually. Michel, his race has unfolded, but he is still in it. He is gonna opt to go under the mediums, I believe. Any other strategy would make sense at this point. That is Ellis picking up his penalty, Boyan in P9, and up front, Gabo is the biggest beneficiary in all this. He may just have secured the win for himself. Because mind you, Abhi was really difficult to get past. And now he has a car between himself and Abhi. Well, he did for a moment. Am I making a little mistake here? I think when he merged out of the pit lane, yeah, what's happened to Gum? I think I've just had a bit of a brain freeze moment there. Sorry for that. Gabo does have a car between himself and Abhi, and he has, well, 3 cars between himself and his teammate. Blade Runner, the pit stop phase has not really played out well for him here. Gabo in a very comfortable position. Rico will definitely have to box. Gumb will also have to box. It's a matter of when these two, Rico and Gumb, decide to dive into the pit lane. No issues for any of these drivers through the chicane of death. One by one, we'll follow all of them. Apocalypse almost drifts his way through there. Maybe it is lag. It's always fun to see interesting new perspectives from all the drivers. Apocalypse going a little bit deep there into the corner from Blade Runner's point of view, at least. What it looked like, Abhi has not got the best of exit through the last corner as well, but I think it's going to be Apocalypse is going to be under threat from Blade Runner on this occasion. Further back, Eudelai on the mediums will also be wanting to get past these guys. Will he be able to close up? His tires are in pretty good nick. It's almost similar to Blade Runner's, and that is Apocalypse losing the rear end. Keeping it on the track and staying ahead of Eudelai. Will Eudelai go for a move here around the outside, inside? What's he going to do? Around the outside. Kisses the grass there and gets past the Audi driver. Nico is in a race of his own. The soft tire gamble is really not one he needed to take at that point. And why has Inorganic gone so wide? And it's just breezed past there. So, no, actually there's some slight contact there. So, Ellis and Inorganic racing away. And Ellis getting past the Aston Martin. Michel down in P12. He may gain a position on Boyan. I don't think he will actually. Boyan will emerge ahead of the BRZ driver, but he's going to be close, exiting the pit lane. I think we can follow this battle here. Michel has the momentum. Boyan has the fresher tires though. Let's have a look into the first chicane we go, and that's not really a competition whatsoever. Michel easily gets past the Mercedes, although I think once the tires are up to temperature, I think Michel will be able to what's happening here? So people are kissing the I think I messed up somebody's name there, so sorry if I we see Blade Runner very close to Abhi possibly looking to make a move into the first chicane, as we saw between Ellis and Inorganic on the previous lap. It is lap 17. We are running out of laps. Drivers need to start making their preparations for the end game of this race if you want to. Gabo in a comfortable position ahead of Gumb. Rico, it's a matter of when he opts to box. Gaz is getting the blue flag for game is telling him to give way to the race leader. Let's have a look at the two red cars. It's not the red car you usually expect with the Renault. It's the red car you expect with the Ferrari. Abhi still leads from Blade Runner. Leads as ahead on track. Leads the way. I think let's go with that. Blade Runner chasing after he's a little more confident on these mediums compared to Abhi. So Udalai also getting involved in all this. Is in the mix. Gabo may have just pulled off a race winning strategy there possibly by pitting earlier as compared to Abhi and Blade Runner. He's gotten ahead of them. So even if he has slightly one tires, wow, Blade Runner, that is way too close, and that is way too close for comfort, and that is going to open up the door for Udalai. He's going to go down the inside at the last turn. Blade Runner will try to hang it around the outside of this last turn. Will Udalai force him off? Nope. It's a very respectful close racing. You love to see this. You always love to see some close racing between pair of drivers. Abhi will have a bit of breathing room here, seeing these two go side by side, but it is going to be Udalai who is going to get ahead of the Renault driver. Blade Runner's slight movement at the chicane has opened up the door for the Supra driver to get ahead, and Udalai is now in P5, chasing after Abhi. Mind you, Gumb and Rico at some point will have to come in. I don't think they're going to get to the end. In any case, Gaz has not let Rico pass. Ryan and Loretto, I don't think I'm familiar with that reference, but I think maybe something relating to... Actually, I don't know what it relates to. I hope it's a nice reference. Abhi chasing after Gum, but coming under threat from Udalai. Going into the chicane of death section of track. Let's have a look at what the Ferrari can do. Let's have a look at what the Porsche can do. Will Rico box? I think we'll come to know in a moment. Gum is losing tire grip. We do not want to see what happens with that is grazing the wall there from Abhi. And once again, Udalai picking up the pieces when a driver messes up at the chicane of death. That is Rico into the pit lane. I was going to say, will Rico dive into the pit lane? He does. Abhi tries to hang it around the outside, tries to fight it, but I don't think he's going to be able to do much. Or will he actually? Let's come into the pit lane. Abhi and Udalai side by side. Close racing once again. And this is Blade Runner just enjoying this. Just look at just imagine being in Blade Runner's shoes at this point in time. You can see the two ahead of you battling it out. You'd hope for them to be as aggressive as possible, because that's going to open up the door for you. It's going to open up a lot of opportunities for you. Giving airtime specifically to the leaders at this point, because just look at this battle. It's lovely to see. People like going a little bit wide there. Sorry. Which is going to allow Abhi to get close, possibly even mount an attack on the Supra driver into this snaky section we go. What do I call it? The S's, not the S's as such. Blade Runner seems to have got good momentum. Udalai almost losing his car there, as we could see, going a little bit off circuit there. That is Gabo. Well, that's Gaz actually, the car between Gabo and Udalai. Going into the chicane of death. Once again, we will give a bit of airtime to those in the midfield as well. Let's have a look. Chicane of death time. Everybody is going to get through without issues. Yep. This time around, that statement stands true. Although it wasn't the best exit for Abhi, maybe Blade Runner goes for an audacious, aggressive move into the last turn. No. I don't think anything's gonna happen on this occasion. Blade Runner tries to get the better exit and make the move on the Ferrari driver. And I know I did say that we would give a bit of attention to the a little further back. I think we will do that. So let's have a look what's happening here. I saw a couple drivers pretty close to one another, so let's Apocalypse and Rico close together. Actually, there's not a whole lot to focus on here. I think we will stick to the leaders. The field seems to be slightly spaced out. A few drivers maybe need to make their pit stops here. Into the chicane we go. That's Gaz ahead of Udalai, so that's not. Oh, Udalai going off track there. Maybe broke a little bit too late. Got a little bit distracted. That's going to open up the door for Abhi, and that is Abhi past the Supra, or is it? The Supra going off circuit into the gravel there and choosing, well, not the inorganic line, but the unfortunate way that inorganic went across that part of track there. Just replicated that and lost the position to the Ferrari driver. So now it's Blade Runner chasing after the Supra. Let's see. Oh, we have a yellow flag for Gaz. I think we will have a look. I think maybe he's just losing the rear. No, that's... So going through this section, Gaz obviously has the P2, P3 and P4 behind him, and did he just want the curbing there, or what's happened here? Oh, it's a very odd accident here. Yep. Is the stream buffering, or is the... I was buffering, I'm not sure. Is something... let me know, Cap, what's the situation. All good? I'm glad to hear that. I think we will continue with the battle here then. Once there's no worry about the stream going down, I can focus completely on this fantastic move made by Udalai on the Ferrari driver. Abhi is going with the switchback, potentially trying to make the move on Udalai. So this is... Udalai has been involved in so many side-by-side battles through this section of track, and he's been doing the cinematic camera treatment as well. Usually don't switch to it, as it doesn't really switch back in time for the battles to unfold. So that is Abhi possibly looking for a way past the Supra driver. Blade Runner's tires are squealing in the background, potentially putting the power down a little bit too early. Abhi gets a better exit compared to Udalai. Going into this fast right-hander, will anything come of it? Yep, once again Udalai going a little bit wide, they're not as wide as last time. Blade Runner a little further back, actually fallen back significantly. All of them have really lost touch from Gabo. Gabo's blasted off into the distance there. Gabo very much in control, very confident with his car. So I must say that is very impressive. Once again, Udalai taking a slightly alternate line clear. So my assumption on the previous lap was wrong. He did not lose the rear end. He just chooses an alternative line through there. Abhi sensed an opportunity, sensed a possible overtaking opportunity there, but could not make much out of it there. Into the chicane of death we go. Let's have a look on board from Blade Runner. The two ahead of him are his closest competitors. Abhi has the best run through there. That's gonna allow Blade Runner to get close. Further back, Rico is on the softs. Apocalypse was on the hards, and that's not an ideal line through there. Grazing the wall. Do we focus on this? Do we focus on the leaders? I want to focus on the midfield. There, show the midfield some love as well. But this is lovely to watch. Two red cars, Renault and Ferrari, side by side. Abhi and Blade Runner going over the grass there, but still staying on the track. Abhi goes a little bit deep. Oh, what's happened to Udalai? Completely on his own. I was just trying to focus on this battle. I think he just got a bit involved in that battle as well. I mean, can you blame him? That's damage for him, of course. So, super unfortunate way for his race to go. Is the stream locked at 720p? It should not be. I have made it 1080p, so not sure why that's happened. So, I don't think you can blame Udalai. Maybe he's just looking in his rearview mirror there and trying to see what can be done between Blade Runner and Abhi. And that's some fantastic racing between the pair of them. Usually losing some positions there. Maybe he loses the position to Rico as well. But Blade Runner putting Abhi under a lot of pressure here in these dying stages of the race. And Charles mentioned lap 22. I will just rewind a little bit on towards the end of this lap. But for now, I am going to focus on Abhi and Blade Runner. Blade Runner is super close to Abhi, and their lines are not varied, but just slightly different. Different enough to give each other something to think about at this point. Gabo is already approaching the chicane. He's going to lap, I believe, P15 and 14. So Gabo has been pretty dominant here around Dragon Trail. Nothing on lap 22, Jules. Oh, I think it was somebody else then. Maybe you did I mention lap 22? I think it's for the unfortunate reason that you mentioned lap 22. But yeah, oh, that's Abhi having a moment there. That's going to open up the door for Blade Runner approaching the last turn. They're going to go side by side, almost draw level here. Abhi is going to brake a little bit later. Maybe go for the switchback on the Renault driver as we're going to start lap 23. It is going to be a Renault 1-2, at least for the time being, unless Abhi can do something about it. Going towards the first chicane once again. These two were involved in a titanic battle on the last lap. Are they going to do something similar on this lap, lap 23? Abhi is there. He's giving Blade Runner something to think about. Blade Runner has to take the odd line through that turn, but he's actually got good momentum. Maybe he's broken free of Abhi. Let's find out. Abhi going through the fast right-hander. Blade Runner. Wow, that's an aggressive line through there. So luckily I've seen no corner cutting penalties. Yeah. Constructors Championship. Yes, this was the race where it was Ferrari. That's myself and Abhi versus Blade Runner and Gabo. So Blade Runner going on the gravel there. Almost going on the gravel there. Abhi, wow, taking a bit too much curb but keeping it under control. Rico, I think he may be able to stay ahead of because Udalai has lost way too much momentum at this point. He may even be overtaken by Gum by the end of this race. Oh, yellow flag. Yellow flag, yellow flag. That is IJF. Just letting people by IJF. So I think that's blue flag conditions, although were there if there were drivers, although that would have been a bit of an issue. And maybe go for an overtake. Abhi once again has lost some time through the chicane of death. Rico is closing up to Abhi. So Abhi, I don't believe has enough fuel. Maybe actually Abhi, Gabo, and Blade Runner all have the same quantity of fuel. That maybe is that a rich energy car? That might be Fudo. Yeah, Fudo is having a pretty unfortunate race here. Yeah. I can see the fuel conservation tactics that are having to be employed by some of the drivers here. So Billy Gross actually has not less fuel as compared to those around him. You can see the top three just have ample fuel now. Abhi has fallen back. He's coming under threat from Rico, although I think Rico's a little too far back to make anything happen in these last 1.5 lap or so. Gabo comfortably leading. Blade Runner making it a Renault 1-2 right towards the end of the race. Abhi, can he hold on to the podium? I think if he manages to do this, yeah, I don't need to act as if it didn't happen. Finishing on the podium will get him, will get Ferrari the Constructors Championship. So that is myself and Abhi's contributions coming to good use as we will be clinching the Constructors. Gabo starts the last lap significantly ahead of his teammate. But fuel levels are running low. Fuel levels are critical at this point. Abhi, will Rico be able to do anything? on this very last lap of the race. Further back, I see a lot of cars very close. No, that's just lapped cars, which make it seem like they're all very close on track. It was actually just Gabo enjoying out in front. I think he's deserved it. His decision to do his pit stop a little bit earlier than his competitors has really helped him out significantly. That's the power of the undercut. Not It doesn't help on all tracks, but Gabo on this track specifically has made it work beautifully. He's gone from what was looking to be possibly P2, maybe P3 to getting into the lead of the race. And he is going to win this race pretty comfortably from his teammate. It's going to be a Renault 1-2. Yeah, I don't think Rico is going to be able to do anything on this last lap. I think we'll give Gabo some screen time here, cinematic screen time actually as well. That is, Fudo is going to follow him to the checkered flag. It's been a great race for the Mile 7 Renault. Always a beautiful livery to spectate. And it's been a great race by Gabo. Great strategy from the hards onto the mediums. No nonsense strategy. Great driving. And he will round up the last corner. And I think he can weave around. He can celebrate a little bit. That has been a great drive by him. And he is going to come across the line and claim the race win. Fantastic by Gabo. And what a dream result for the Renault team. A 1-2 at Dragon Trail. Abi will finish P3, and well done Abi. That has helped us clinch the Constructors title. Well done Abi. Rico in P4 got very close at the end there to the Ferrari. And wow, is this a photo finish here between Apocalypse and Gum? Who's it gonna be? Oh, I think it's gonna be Apocalypse by the skin of his teeth there. Ahead of the Porsche driver, Udalai finishes in P7 after that late moment there. That's IGF, that's not a P8. P8 belongs to Ellis, whose race has also not been the best. He's fallen back. I think his strategy really let him down there. Nico Swagarelli in P9, his strategy also was not the most inorganic in P10. Michel's race unfolded after those initial spins and moments. He is P11. Boyan in P12 in the Mercedes. Oh, he's picked up some damage. Charles is going to be the last of the cars to finish this race. Boyan will end the race in P12, flashing his lights. And Charles, unfortunate race, finishes in P13. Unlucky P13, but a lucky P1 for Gabo 13. Well done, Gabo. And wins the race. So it's a Renault 1-2. So, yep, I think with that, we will conclude the stream. Thank you to all the drivers who raced here. Congratulations to Team Renault for the 1-2. And it always feels odd to say this, but congratulations to Abi and myself, and that will never not be weird, on clinching the Constructors. Thank you, everyone, for the kind words. I am glad to hear that. And yes, indeed, Gabo, what a performance, Gabo. Well done. With that, we will conclude the stream. Thank you for tuning in, everyone. We will be back with the season finale at Deep Forest soon. That's all I'll say. Soon. Thank you, everyone, for the kind words once again. It's just love to hear it. Thank you, and we'll be back soon. Thank you. Take care. Good night, and bye.